All right, hi everybody. Welcome to Module 3. This is Neurons, Cellular, and Network Properties. So this, along with the next module, Module 4, are probably the two that are my favorites, that I did my PhD in and that I'm currently researching still. So I'm super excited to go over this with you guys and hear any questions that you have. Make sure that this is all very, very clear and that you have a very thorough understanding of the central nervous system and how it works. So the topics for this section are going to be organization of the nervous system. Topic 2 is the cells of the nervous system. Topic 3 is the electrical signals in neurons, how they're produced, how they're propagated. Topic 4 is cell-to-cell communication in the nervous system. And then topic 5 is the integration of neural information transfer. Okay? So those are the topics and then the learning objectives for this section. I'll just go over these. Again, not in exhaustive detail, but it should give you an idea of what you have to know by the end of this section. So you should be able to map the organization of the nervous system in detail. Okay, so you should know what types of neurons are found where, how everything is organized, like in general, different brain structures, the cerebrum versus cerebellum versus brainstem versus spinal cord versus neurons and nerves and so on. You should be able to draw and describe the parts of a neuron and give their functions. You should be able to describe the parts of the synapse and give their functions. You should be able to name the types of glia and their functions. You should be able to explain in words how the Goldman-Hodgkin-Katz equation relates to the membrane potential of a cell. You should be able to explain the relationships between the following terms: current flow, conductance, resistance, and Ohm's law. These are all generally terms that are taken from electrical engineering or physics, but they apply to the nervous system because a lot of the communication that goes on in it, or the communication that we're interested in neurons, is by electrical signal. So a lot of these same principles will apply. Anyway, but you'll see that when you get to it. You should be able to compare and contrast graded potentials and action potentials. You should be able to explain the changes in ion permeability and ion flow that take place during an action potential. Okay, so this is understanding which direction the ions are flowing in. Generally, this is with respect to the cell membrane, so if they're going in or out, and what effect that has on the cell, or at least the membrane's potential on either side. You should be able to describe and compare absolute and relative refractory periods. You should be able to explain the role of myelin in the conductance of action potentials. You should be able to distinguish between electrical and chemical synapses. You should be able to list and give examples of the 7 groups of neurocrine secretions. You should be able to describe different patterns for neurotransmitter synthesis, recycling, release, and the termination of action. You should be able to describe the role of the following in synaptic communication: ionotropic and metabotropic receptors, neurotransmitters and neuromodulators, fast and slow synaptic potentials, excitatory and inhibitory postsynaptic potentials. Then you should be able to compare temporal and spatial summation. You should be able to compare presynaptic and postsynaptic inhibition. And then you should be able to explain the mechanism of long-term potentiation mediated by AMPA or AMPA and NMDA receptors. The opposite for the long-term potentiation would be long-term inhibition, which you might come across too. But these are especially important because they form the basis for learning and memory. Anyway, these are all extremely interesting topics, so I hope you enjoy going through all of them, and I look forward to reviewing them with you in tutorial.